Alright everyone, so this is going to be a video on how to make this pipe connector here. It's going to focus solely on the 3D modeling, and I'm going to go through the general making of it. I am not going to go over the exact numbers because they are there in the dimensions and you guys can clearly do simple math. However, I will give you guys hints and I will show you the process about which I do it, which should be good enough for you guys to kind of follow along and do the math. Something that I'll note, especially later on, is that some of your numbers are going to be cut in half. And just a reminder, Onshape, just like in SolidWorks, right, it will do math for you. So if you put in, a number divided by 2 or a number minus, and in parentheses, another number divided by 2, it'll do the process of PEMDAS and give you the answer that you want, right? So first of all, here's the model. It's cylindrical, right? Which means we can use the revolve tool. So rather than trying to make all of these items here and trying to extrude and extrude cut them, the best bet would be to basically make this shape right here, right? So you can see basically this shape right here, and make a construction line to revolve it around, right? And that will give us, oopsies, my computer seems to be slow today. So it'll give us this particular shape, right? Now keep in mind that this does not give us this fillet if I do this, but the reason that I'm going to keep that straight to begin with is I want it to be absolutely flat. I don't want it to give me any kind of errors when I do come back in here and use that particular face to put the bolt circles on, right? And then two, where was the other thing? We do need this as a construction line to revolve it around, yeah, so we'll get into that. So next up, here's Onshape, right? Just like in the drawing, we're going to draw from the side view, right? So that'll be this right view. Right or front would work. We're going to use the right one because it's going to make when you do the drawing a lot easier because it'll just line up. So first of all, we're going to do a sketch. We're going to click right over here on this right side, and we're going to align to it by clicking on the right thing here on this cube. And before I get started, I have all these original views in my way. I don't want to see them, so I'm going to just click the eyeballs off for top, front, and right. It's just in my way. All right. Also, this is in inches, not millimeters. So really what I should have done before we started was I should have made sure that we were in inches. If not, please make sure to do so, right? So that's the 3 lines right here. Workspace units, please make sure it says inches before you actually get started with your stuff. If it popped you out of your sketch, click here on your sketch, right click, go to edit, you're back in. All right, so looking at this, the very first thing we should do is we should make that construction line that we're going to revolve around first, right? So I'm going to grab my line, I'm going to make sure it's a construction line, which is Q on your keyboard. It's this particular can you guys see that on the stream? Yes. This particular thing here, and I'm going to treat the origin as the front of my object. So I'm going to take this line and go straight back, and you can see there's a little line at the very bottom right of where my cursor is. That's letting me know that it's perfectly horizontal. That's fine. I'm just going to click, and again, I'm not going to put a size here. I just happen to know this is more than enough because that's showing a value of 10 and the entire thing is 2.5 long. I know that because I'm looking at the document, right? So, okay, I've hit escape. I want to start drawing, and my advice is get the general shape. We'll get the general shape, and then we'll come back in and we'll take the we'll do the cutout parts and we'll just trim at the very end. So let's grab the line tool. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a generalized shape here. And yes, I am eyeballing this. I have no idea what size I've actually picked, right? Because at the very moment, it doesn't really matter. We're going to add dimensions in here. So for dimensions, I know that this particular line, right, has a value of 1. It's half of the 2, which can be seen on the left-hand dimensions there, right? Oopsies, I just told myself that that was 1, and I put in a 2, so we'll just make sure that that's 1, right? And you can see the whole thing scaling, which is nice. Can I pull this line out just a little bit more? Yeah, cool. Let's go back to dimensions. That's D, or this particular tool right here, right? I know that this right up here, this line, is a dimension in total of 0.5, right? And I am looking at dimensions on my other screen here. It makes it easier than flipping it back and forth. Let's see. So if the whole thing is 2.5, so from here to here is 2.5. We'll do that. And then I know that this line right here is 2. And you'll see that it fixed what was an issue. This wasn't actually a vertical line. So if I just click on this, I can click on this vertical line here, and it'll make sure, oh, it did not like that. But you know what? It's over constrained because I already fixed the problem by putting in the numbers. So I fixed the problem, didn't have to fix it a second time. All right, so we should just fix this height right here, and that height is, let's see, if halfway up here is 1, and the total outside is 3.5, so that means that if I take my dimension tool, right, and I'll just grab this guy right here, and this will be a good time to use like an equation, right? So we'll say 3.5 divided by 2, and there's the height, 1.75, right? Great. So I'm just going to hit escape here, and all this stuff is now basically it's parametric. So as I change the numbers, it will change, and once I come in here, I'll just do the inside, and then I'll trim off the bottom here and the bottom here that we don't need. So next up, let's just come in here really quick, and let's just draw the basic shape, including that little notch that's in there. So I'm just going to come in here, and I want to actually avoid this particular point right here, because if I do this, like right on this particular point, you can see there's a little extra symbol on my mouse, and that means that it's going to give me a midline constraint. I don't want that, so I'm just going to make sure that I get this symbol, which lets me know that I'm on the line but not directly on the midpoint, and we'll fix its height later. So I'm going to go here. I know I have to go up, over. Can I get an alignment here? So you can see, like I came up and over, and then to make sure this is aligned, I came over here to this dot, came over and made sure I got those yellow lines. Let's see, we'll go over. This actually comes down a little bit. It comes over an amount, right? It comes down, it comes over, and then it comes up, and then it connects all the way over to the end. So it gives us this shape, and you can see I can trim this stuff as I need to. So let's do some of the easy ones first, right? So let me just make sure I have everything here. So I have over, up, over, down, over, right? Down again, over, up, over through to the end. All right, great. So let's do this particular line right here. So I'll do dimensions. I'll grab the whole line, right? And we're going to say that that is 2.5 minus 2.125. All right, I'll grab this guy, and we'll do some more math again. So 2.125 minus 1.75 there. This guy is going to be 1. And honestly, I probably don't even need this particular value here. It should automatically fill in once I do the front value here. So I know that this distance right here is going to be 0.08, and that should kind of shift everything over And then I know that this guy right here is going to be 0.125 minus 0.08. So really quick, let me just see if I can pull that number out so you guys can see that just a little bit easier. Right, so that number and that number. And then this length is by default, because we set it up this way, should automatically be there. But just to check, I'm going to go from this point to this point, and it should say 0.75. It does. All right, great. So now we got to do the heights, right? So let's see. From this line to this line should be 1.125 divided by 2, right? From this line to, let me try to grab that correctly there, right? So that line to that line is going to be 1.245 divided by 2. Let's see, from here to here will be 1 divided by 2, which is 0.5. Let's see, from here to here will be 0.75 divided by 2. And then from here to here is going to be 1.625 divided by 2. And there we go. So we have all this. It's really upset. When did that happen? When did that happen? Why did that happen? Oh, you know why? It's because this has a set amount here. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of... oh, you know why? It's because... So I made a slight mistake here, right? So this whole line I have as a segment here, we should just get rid of this measurement here, and it should be... Come on. That measurement there, and maybe this measurement here. And let's trim off what we don't need, because we don't actually need, right, this line and this line here. So the trim is this tool right here. Looks like a pair of scissors. I'm just going to trim off that and that. All right. Let's go to our dimension tools. Let's put this guy back in. So once again, this is whoopsies, 1.625 divided by 2. It is upset. Sketch cannot be solved. Interesting. Let's see. Is there a reason for that? Let's just grab... Well, I know this is all working now, right? So let's just come back in here and say that this point to this line needs to be at that height. So 1.625. Helps if I do the right math, right? Divided by 2. That's the actual height. And I will grab this, come straight over to here. And then let's grab this and we'll make that intersect. We'll trim off what we don't need. That line is indeed horizontal. So now we have this. Here's our construction line. I don't have an extra line there, just making sure. So in theory, this should be generally the whole thing, right? And I'm trying to see how much time I'm at here. I'm almost at 15 minutes. That's about as much as this video as we should be doing, right? In the second video, what I'll do is I'll cover how to do the actual bolt holes and whatnot. But this should do it for our main sketch, right? So if I just hit check, it's valid. I can see that it's a shape. I'm going to rotate around in 3D. That's the right click. I'm going to click on my, actually no, I'm not going to click on my sketch. Up here, the revolve tool is here. I want to choose this particular face, and it wants to know what axis, right? So I click here where it says revolve axis. I'm going to click that line. It makes your shape. You can see there's your thing, and you can even see that, like, so here's the first one, and you can see in there, there's my cutouts, right? So that's how you make the general shape, right? And I'm just going to click check really quick so it validates it. And when we come back for the second video, which is going to be really fast, right? Because all I'm going to do is the bold circles. All you got to do is click on, and the reason, and again, this face right here is where we're going to put the bold circle. And what we'll do is we'll take a construction line basically from here straight up, right? And we'll set that distance. We'll make the one. We'll do a polar array, right? And what we'll do is we'll do two circles, one that goes all the way through and one that only goes partially through to give us the effect that we're looking for in the drawing. And then we'll just come back in here and do the fillet. And once again, the reason I didn't do the fillet in the original drawing, I wanted no reason for this to think that this was not a flat surface. In theory, it shouldn't, but I didn't want to give it a reason to freak out or make some kind of mathematical mistake, because I can always come back and do it again. All right, so that's how you make the general shape for the pipe fitting here.